All right, so let's talk challenger selling for a second and why I don't think it's the most effective way for you to be selling to the modern buyer. Now, the challenger method is a pretty popular selling method, and I don't mean that it gives you great results. I just mean it's been around for a long time. I think it was created back in the early 2000s. A lot of it has not been updated, and it's still teaching some of those old and outdated ways. If you're not familiar with the challenger selling model, essentially what it is they want you to literally challenge your buyers. And you do that by offering alternative viewpoints. Now, don't get me wrong, alternative viewpoints are fine. You just got to know when to offer them and how to do it. We have to remember that buyer expectations have changed, and they've changed a lot. The way they, or even you, interact with digital tools and the digital experiences that you get throughout your day-to-day life, personal and professional, that has boiled over into the way we want to be sold to and the experiences that we want. Now, the challenger selling model actually tells you to focus less on building relationships and more on challenging that sale. I just don't agree with that. I don't like it, and I don't teach it that same way, and I don't think you should be doing it that way either. One of the main issues that I see about the challenger method is that it was created by two gentlemen and it's researched back, meaning these people are not out there actually selling and doing the work. They interviewed and took some data from a lot of sales professionals, probably back in the early 2000s, and compiled this to create this challenger method. But the problem is that, again, they're not out there doing it. I sell and am sold to every day and have been doing that for my businesses and my clients' businesses for over 15 years. So the way I train is not hypothetical. All right. It's actually real world experience where we're taking things, because I actually own a marketing company and we're building sales funnels as well. So we build sales and marketing funnels and we build these processes. We take the data, we look at it, we start to understand what makes people buy and what experiences lead to the best results. Now, don't get me wrong. I love data. We use it all the time. It's a big part of what we do, but I'm not going to base my whole training and my whole approach to sales on data alone. I want to make sure that I have tried this stuff and used these methods so that I can actually tell you what works and what doesn't, and it's going to save you a lot of time. And one way I want to help you do that is I've got a free newsletter. If you look at the link in the description or you go over to palmerSalesTraining.com, you can sign up and I send a free Monday morning motivational sales newsletter to help you crush the week and be more prepared. It's got tips, tricks, hacks, things I'm doing. It's a pretty short read, and it's going to give you a lot of great resources to help in your selling career. So don't forget to go sign up for that. The challenger method is also really similar to all the other things out there where it's that one size fits all approach. And I just don't like that because selling is not one size. Teaching you how to do something, doesn't matter what it is, but only teaching you how to think about it that one way is not going to equip you from the different scenarios, situations, and people that you're going to encounter when you actually go out and try to pitch a product or a solution to a prospective buyer. It just doesn't work that way. I've said this so many times, and an example I use a lot is like overcoming objections, right? You'll get that same objection 20 different times, and each one of those 20 different times, you might have to approach it or respond differently based on where you are in the process, who you're talking to, and what product or service you're selling. There's a lot to take into account, but it all really revolves around creating that perfect, what I call UBE, or user buying experience. It's the foundation of my training and the whole approach I take to business development because it works. So if you're using the challenger method, we know that they don't really want you to focus on relationship building. In fact, they think it's super ineffective, which I disagree with. They want you to actually challenge the buyer. They want you to take control of the conversation, and they want you to create tension during that process. But let's be honest, nobody wants to be challenged, nobody wants to be controlled, and nobody wants tension. So we really have to change the way we do this, and we have to start using more modern methods to reach today's buyer. Now, a big part of the challenger method is actually offering those alternative viewpoints. Now, I'm a big believer in doing that, right? But not in the way that a challenger does. Because I've been sold to in that challenger method. I've seen it used firsthand with people selling to me, and also with clients that have hired me to consult on their selling. I have listened in on people using the challenger model. And what it does is it creates, just out of the box, it's no fault of their own, essentially an arrogant approach. If you go into a conversation being trained to challenge and control a conversation, you're going to go in with an ego and you're going to go in with this arrogant approach that's just not going to come off well to the buyer. It just won't. And that's the way they want you to do it. But that buyer is not going to remember you or the product or service you're selling. They're going to remember the experience you gave them, and it's probably not going to be a good one if you keep trying to challenge them. The challenger method has essentially 5 tiers of salespeople: the hard worker, the challenger, the relationship builder, the lone wolf, and the reactive problem solver. There's a lot to digest in this, and I won't go too much into their method, but let's stop trying to be one of 5 different types, and let's only be one, which is the trusted consultant. Instead of challenging a buyer, let's help them, let's consult, and let's walk them down a path where we're uncovering together potential areas that they might have overlooked, things they might not have thought about. Instead of focusing less on relationships, let's focus more on building them in the right way. Let's be the person that prospect trusts and the company that they trust to answer their questions in an honest way and be there when they're ready to buy. Let's be someone that they know they can have an honest conversation with. If they have questions and want to help toss some ideas off of you, or they want your help in kind of going through and deciphering all the data and competitor research they have, which they're going to have, let's be that trusted person they know they can call on. And let's make sure they know that you're going to be helping them by using real world experience and experience that you've seen from your other clients who are in the same or similar situation that they are. So the term building relationships in sales can often be misunderstood. And I think it's misunderstood in the challenger model as well, because they don't want you to do that. But they might be thinking that it's weeks or months spent sending emails, sending flowers, sending nice little messages, or pictures of your cats to these prospects, right? And they think that that's building a relationship, but it's not. The way I look at building relationships is the way you should be doing it, and it's different than a lot of sales trainers out there will talk about. When you become that trusted consultant, which I'm going to teach you how to do, that's the whole basis of my whole training, is telling you how to be a better consultant and salesperson to your prospects. When you do that, you're going to do it a different way. You're going to help build a relationship, but you're also going to use systems. You're going to put things in place that are going to help you do that. You're going to do your research. You're going to go into conversations being prepared. Building a relationship happens throughout the entire funnel, the entire sales cycle. And you need to know how to deepen that relationship at every single stage and do it the right way. Now, you don't want to derail a business conversation. You don't want to derail the sale. So you want to make sure that you're building relationships while you're also pushing closer to getting that signed signature and that actual purchase order. And there's an art to doing it. And it doesn't start with being arrogant and controlling and challenging a conversation. Building relationships is paramount in a sales process because people want to buy from people they like and companies they like and trust. That's just the way it is. That's psychology 101. Okay. And there's no disputing that. But again, I don't want you to think that building a relationship is not going to be trying to close a sale. Okay. Because you do both and you do it the right way. You also want to remember that building a relationship does not mean that you're just sitting around waiting for that person to contact you while at the same time they're shopping other products or services. You don't want to do that. Building a relationship is going to keep you top of mind with the customer. And when they're ready to buy, obviously you're communicating with them because you're not going to have a lapse in doing that. You're going to be top of mind. You're going to be ready to field their questions and help get them over the finish line. Okay. That's what building a relationship for me is in selling. And I don't think the challenger method does that very effectively. So I just wanted to get a few of my thoughts out there. And I'm really not trying to knock anything. I just don't think it's the most effective way. But I want you to make your own judgments and I want you to make your own calls on what selling works best for you. I think my method is best suited for today's buyer. And again, I do this. I have a digital marketing company. I have this sales training company. I'm doing this every day. So I know what works. And I'm going to give you that information. But if you want to be more of a challenger, by all means, go ahead and try that out. I just caution you on not trying to develop relationships because I think that's what a huge focus is today.